Now, the concept of self-management in Scrum is pivotal to its success. I could summarize this entire video into one sentence. Self-management of a Scrum team means that they decide who does what, when, and how. I could finish there, but let's delve into what self-management means in a bit more detail. Self-management is so pivotal because without it, decision-making and therefore adaptation can't be as rapid as needed within a complex environment. Imagine if every time you needed to do something or make a change, you needed permission to do that. Now, whilst that's taking an extreme example, it is a common symptom of a poor product culture and a poor delivery environment that is not living the Scrum values. You cannot have self-management unless there is trust that pervades at every level of the organisation. Otherwise, there's going to be a constant fear of failure, making mistakes, and retribution. A Scrum team needs to be able to rapidly learn and then improve. In actual fact, for self-management to be successful, there needs to be a culture where failure isn't only acceptable, but is considered necessary and is understood to be a valuable part of an empirical feedback loop. Self-management is impacted by many things within a Scrum team. I've already mentioned the values, supporting culture, and therefore trust, but it is also impacted by things such as hierarchy, skill set, and transparency, specifically the understanding of what is required to move the product towards value. Let's dig into each of these and consider how it impacts self-management. As we review each of them, remember that the accountability of the Scrum Master is to coach the team on self-management. With each, consider how hard this must be to achieve. Even though the Scrum accountabilities are very clear that no one accountability is more important than another, there is a reality in many organisations that within each team there will be differing levels of seniority. This could potentially create a need for more junior team members to defer decision-making to more senior members. This does not support self-management. By ostensibly removing hierarchy within a Scrum team, that is by these senior managers making it clear they view themselves to be equals, we can improve the levels of maturity in the team. Similar to hierarchy, where team members have different levels of skills at certain tasks, there is often both an ownership of product backlog items. For example, the product backlog item is focused on testing, and I have a background in that, but also on implementation decisions. In sprint planning, question 3 is about how to turn product backlog items into a usable increment. The developers need to collaborate to produce this plan and not defer the sole decision of any technical expert. Scrum teams improve their self-management by collectively taking the accountability to produce the increment equally. As the Scrum Guide puts it, the fundamental unit of Scrum is a small team of people. It is a cohesive unit of professionals focused on one objective at a time, and they are cross-functional, meaning they have the necessary skills to create value. Self-management is also supported by the transparency, specifically the understanding of what is required. When a product owner presents a product goal, it is important that they communicate the intended outcomes and validation criteria for success when that goal will be met. This is important because unless the whole Scrum team understands what is needed, they will be less able to make decisions based on their inspections without knowing what adaptations are needed to be made. The product goal, in fact, all commitments within the Scrum Framework, creates a coherence and focus that helps with decision-making, supporting self-management. The final thing to mention with self-management is that it comes down to communication. Can the Scrum team communicate effectively within themselves, but also externally in order to achieve their goals? Communication is impacted by many things, not least the things I've already discussed, but also the Scrum team size. Whilst the Scrum Guide does not place any rules on a Scrum team size, and you may read online many different suggestions, 3 to 9, 7 plus or minus 2, the Scrum Guide states that it will typically be less than 10. This is because a smaller size enables them to remain nimble, i.e. adaptable, but also large enough to complete significant work. Smaller teams communicate more easily, and that enables self-management to flourish. If you have a large team of 15 to 20, can you honestly say that everyone knows what everyone is progressing around one sprint goal? I highly doubt it. Small teams create cohesion and clear lines of communication. The takeaway from this video is that empiricism is supported by the Scrum team being able to self-manage. They need to be empowered to make decisions. Fundamental to this is the acceptance that they will get it wrong sometimes. I've seen examples where teams are so scared of making the wrong decision, they will wait a week or two for someone to return from their holiday to ask their opinion. Whereas the reality is that they could have tried every possible option within those 2 weeks and probably got an answer faster. Don't fear failure, encourage it to support self-management within your Scrum teams.